After some pretty incessant peer pressure back in high school, I started smoking marijuana at the age of 17. Not long afterward, I watched a documentary titled The Emperor of Hemp, where it was explained by author of The Emperor Wears No Clothes, cannabis rights activist Jack Herer, how the cannabis plant from which we get hemp and marijuana could actually save the world. Apparently, virtually everything that we currently rely on petroleum and deforestation for can actually be achieved with hemp, which he claimed could make a much cleaner source of fuel. And part of the beauty of that is the fact that the hemp plant is a renewable resource that can be swiftly mass-produced in high abundance. It can even be used for cordage with electrical conductivity and as feedstock in 3D printers. Maybe I was going a little too far, becoming such a huge pothead before I even had enough money to adopt the habit, but part of what fueled it was my reverence for what is evidently a very useful resource. And so, after graduating high school and getting my first job, I was pretty much high all day, every day for 3 years straight. And then, I lost interest and quit. I went through some semblance of what could be considered withdrawal for like a day, and then I was fine the next day. I smoked a few more times here or there over the years that followed, but really I seemed to be over it. I'm just not interested in getting high anymore. But I still support the legalization of marijuana, and I agree with Founding Father George Washington that the hemp plant should be sown everywhere. But let's face it, even if we switch to plant-based plastics, hemp oils, hemp biomass fuel, hemp paper, hemp homes, etc., we still live in a system where the things we need cost us money. And while there are those who have been lucky enough to find clever ways to get paid doing stuff they actually enjoy doing, generally speaking, the rest of us wind up doing shit jobs that we don't actually like. We just do them because we have to do something in order to make enough money to get by in a system where the things we need cost money. So, we're often miserable. Doesn't matter how much pot you smoke, shit just sucks sometimes. Which brings me to another eye-opening documentary I once watched when I was in my mid-20s. It's called Zeitgeist Addendum. The second half of the film interviews Jacques Fresco and Roxanne Meadows, co-founders of an organization called the Venus Project, and they explained that it was possible to build new self-sustaining cities where machines would do all the jobs that humans don't really want to do, and that through automated processes, everyone living in these cities could have access to the things they need without a price tag, because you don't have to pay machines. Now that sounded awesome. But the best transition plan I remember hearing from them in regard to how to get from here to there required the production of a major motion picture to show the world what was possible, followed by a test city that would serve as sort of a theme park. From there, once we knew we had a working model that operated as it should, we could produce more cities that people could live in and fully implement an alternative economic model that the Venus Project calls a resource-based global economy, or RBE. Resource-based as opposed to being money-based. Yes, money buys resources, but only if you have money. If you don't, then the monetary system is actually a barrier between you and what you can't afford. So it's really a good idea for us to create a way of rendering money obsolete, which just happens to be something that technology can help us achieve. But as great as it sounds to live in automated cities where we get our stuff for free, so far, not one US president or mainstream presidential candidate has been talking about it. And that is really upsetting. They talk about how they're going to create more jobs, like it's going to make things any better than the last time they created more jobs. Here's an idea, politicians. How about you make those automated cities happen so that we can be free from those stupid bullshit jobs? No more bosses, no more customers, just freedom. Unfortunately, even if we did get a president to actively move toward an RBE, I suspect it would probably be somewhere between decades and centuries before anyone got to experience it. Not because we lack the technological capability, we don't. It's just that it would take a lot of time to properly network and organize and then build before finally completing construction on even just the first test city. So, while I still think an RBE is a great idea and that we should try to implement one as soon as possible, we're going to need to try to find a way to smooth the transition from here to there. That said, as an activist for an RBE, I sometimes found myself in conversations with other activist groups, and I once came across this weird, seemingly cult-like bunch that called themselves the Destiny Group, and they advocated for something that they called an equal money system. The way the idea was presented to me, it sounded like they were onto something, but that the idea could maybe use some tweaking. Later, I heard a similar idea referred to as Universal Basic Income, or UBI. And that was it. That was the answer. That was what we needed to smooth the transition from where we are to where we are going. Then, one day, I got an email from a family member informing me that there was a 2020 Democratic presidential candidate who is promoting a UBI. His name is Andrew Yang. And with his UBI plan called the Freedom Dividend, he's going to give us each $1,000 per month. But he's also going to legalize marijuana and do a whole bunch of other great things. One of the things he plans to do as president is to relax some of our zoning laws, which would free up more land for the construction of new homes and communities. So we could start seeing not just more off-the-grid solar-powered homes during Yang's presidency, but also off-grid self-sustaining villages, like those envisioned by an organization called One Community, who seems to be into the concept of an RBE as much as I am, if not more so. They actually have do-it-yourself instructions for building a cheaper, easier version of what the Venus Project proposes that can essentially be done right now. So resource-based communities could be on the way sooner than expected, and Yang's policies can help us get there.
Yang Gang 2020. Yang Gang 2020. Yang Gang 2020. Yang Gang.